What I wanted to do in this video was a whole bunch of reading. So, if anybody's gonna go out there looking for my personal analysis on goaltending breakdowns and all that, then I'm sorry, I don't really think I'm smart enough to do that. We have to go on to articles and read what people are talking about in regards to this player if we want to get a big picture as to how things are going to go. We're heading over to Buffalo and talking once more about their recently signed goaltending prospect and potential goalie of the future, Devon Levi. Yes, we are talking today about Levi Hecho, and this is going to be a pretty good one because we've got two sources here that I think really articulate in a good way just what we can expect from Levi, not just on the ice, but maybe off the ice too. Who really knows? So, if you need the context, just in case you've been living under a rock here, Devon Levi was a former 7th-round pick by the Florida Panthers back in 2020. He quickly became one of the better goaltending prospects in the NHL because he was so good at the World Juniors. He eventually was traded over to Buffalo in the Sam Reinhart trade, and then he decided to dominate the NCAA. The Northeastern University Huskies was his playground, and even though he is a smaller goaltender at 6 feet 185, this 21-year-old still has a whole bunch of potential based off of what we've seen in college. Last season, he had a .933 save percentage and a .224 goals against, and he was pretty much the best goalie in the NCAA. Recently, he had signed with the Buffalo Sabres, and now you have yourselves articles like this one published by Jordan LeBarber on the Sabres website from 2 days ago. What I wanted to do was read these comments made here by Devon Levi, starting out with the headline. I just felt in my heart that I wanted to be a Sabre. Here are some notes from Monday's practice at the KeyBank Center. What this article does is it pretty much summarizes Devon Levi's post-practice interview, and it gives the quotes in a pretty nice way. Levi is known to stay on the ice long after practices end. He uses virtual reality technology to take his training home and visualization techniques to keep his mind sharp. But the work all boils down to one simple objective, which he considers his purpose. Just keep the puck out of the net, Levi said inside KeyBank Center on Monday. That's what it comes down to. The guy that can do it best is the guy that's going to play. There are so many different ways to do it. There are so many guys that did it differently. Just at the end of the day, it's just whether it crossed the line or not, and just keeping it out. I feel like I was born to do this, and it's my passion. Now, take a shot every time the guy says just, but at the same time, it's crazy to me how when he goes home, based off of this article, he uses VR technology to do more goaltending drills. Now, whatever that is, I don't know whatever software it is that he uses, or if there's a specific game that he plays. Maybe he plays NHL 23 in VR, and he does the goalie mode. Who really knows? That's probably not possible. I'm joking, by the way. But it is kind of interesting to me how he's able to do that, where he uses VR technology to do more goaltending drills. That's kind of funny. More specifically, Levi wants to stop pucks for the Sabres. The article mentions how he had signed his ELC. Levi, true to his thoughtful nature, took time before finalizing his decision. He and his family had a Zoom call to discuss the opportunity with members of the Sabres front office and coaching staff, including GM Kevin Adams. Last May, Kevin Adams invited Levi to join him for a Sabres morning skate in Boston. So this was last year, before the guy was signed, before the guy even played the season he had just recently played, after which Levi spent some time with Craig Anderson. He got his full-fledged introduction to the organization at development camp in July, which gave him a sense of the team's future. The organization is just such a good organization, Levi said. I think the way that Kevin has brought me in and showed me his vision, I share a lot of the same morals and vision that he does with this group. You know, he's trying to get a lot of good people, not only good hockey players, but just quality human beings, and he's doing it the right way. So, it was a decision that took my time to make sure it was the right one, but when I made my mind, it was easy to set a decision. I just felt in my heart I wanted to be a Sabre. I'm so happy to be here. And that is what you ultimately want to hear from a guy that has been so highly touted like he was, because now you're seeing the dedication bleed through in his language. You're seeing that he wants to be here and he's engaged with being a Sabre. It's a pretty good sort of vibe here that Levi is bringing to the locker room as he steps in for the first time. Levi was unable to practice on Monday as he awaited the completion of his immigration. He watched a portion of the practice on the bench alongside injured defenseman Mattias Samuelsson. The article mentions that we also had some time to watch behind Craig Anderson. To take the initiative to do that, walk up into the stands by yourself while you're a part of the team, I think it's natural for guys to sit up there, but he was studying it, Granato said. The best players that I've been around, elite NHL All-Stars, their history is when they were kids. They sat at a game and studied it like that. They just put themselves in that situation, and that's why they've become great players. They've learned through and taught themselves to win. Those who study have a deep, deep passion, and they think, this is the only thing in my life I want to get done and accomplish. Devon approaches this very, very seriously. He's accomplished what he's accomplished because he's worked with the coaches he's had very well. He wants to learn more, but he's studied it himself. The article then says that he'll spend the rest of the season with the Sabres in large part because of his studious nature. Adams and Granato both spoke about the potential benefits of having him practice in an NHL environment and absorb information from the other 3 goaltenders on the roster, particularly Craig Anderson, whose 318 wins are tied for 32nd in NHL history. Craig Anderson says this, he's coming in, and he was arguably the best college goaltender the last 2 years, and now he's got a new mountain to climb. There's no satisfaction, there's no end game here. The end game is to continue to get better, and that starts with all of us pushing him and being here to help him and guide him. Now that is amazing. If I wasn't hyped about Devon Levi before, I certainly am hyped now. But what I also wanted to do was go over on an article on dailyfaceoff.com written by former goaltender Mike McKenna, going over what we can expect from Devon Levi and why the Sabres should be patient. Take a look at what McKenna writes about when it comes to Levi and his technical goaltending. What does he do well? What can he do better? McKenna has some thoughts. First things first, Levi's only 6 feet tall, and in the NHL that's undersized. It was probably a major reason why he was selected so late. But Levi isn't tiny though. Nashville Predators standout netminder UC Saros stands 5'11" and has no problems being successful. There's still a place for 6-foot goaltenders in the NHL. Saros is an unbelievable skater, and McKenna does see that with Levi. His pushes are powerful and his stops are crisp. Levi's skating routes are very precise, much like Saros. For smaller goalies, being on the proper angle is of paramount importance. Paramount already means extraordinarily important, so it's kind of interesting how he puts that there. Regardless, that only happens through disciplined skating. Levi's diligence to the angle shows up when he tends to allow goals. As you can see in the graphic below, he's very balanced. He isn't vulnerable to either blocker or glove side. And you can see his save percentages for each of the goals he had let in this season. He's saved 100% of the shots that go to his chest, 92% of his shots that go high stick side, 80% of the shots that go to the left of his mask. He's only had 5 of them, so he's been a pretty stable goaltender. For McKenna, there are 2 key elements. Firstly, Levi rarely ventures outside the blue paint unless he knows the shooter is all alone. He prefers to stay close to home. That means Levi is never far away from the center line of being square. The other aspect is how well he rotates. He turns before pushing, a key to arriving square. He consistently gets his torso, a goalie's biggest blocking surface, in front of the shot. Levi's arms and legs are, oh boy, that's a word, equidistant. That's a beautiful word, my gosh, from the shooter's blade more often than not. It's simple geometry. Levi's efficient rotations allow him to triangulate the puck. There are a few other things talked about here in this article, but McKenna does an amazing job just breaking down the nitty-gritty details of what Levi does so well, and long story short, he plays a game that is similar to UC Saros enough that McKenna can go out there and point it out, because as a former goaltender himself, he probably knows what he's talking about, doesn't he? So, I'll leave a link in the description to both the articles we looked at here, the Levi interview with the Sabres and a lot of their personnel's thoughts on him, as well as the McKenna breakdown as to what it is that Levi does well. But all in all, this was a pretty good video, I feel, for getting the hype train going, just saying, hey, there's a guy in Buffalo, he wants to be there, he was really good, and this is what makes him so good. I know the Sabres have had a pretty rough go the past few weeks here, but with stories like these, Devon Levi coming out there and doing his thing, it makes things a little bit more sufferable to go out there and watch, doesn't it? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Buffalo and Devon Levi, the progression he has displayed these past few years, and what you can expect out of him heading into the next few weeks. Are you excited? Are you not excited? What do you think he's going to be able to accomplish? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Devon Levi. I hope you enjoyed this video. Juraj 99, and bye.